Have you ever had one of those moments where the world feels so quiet, so perfect, you almost forget how fast it can turn on you? I was out in my soybean field, the kind of late July day in southern Illinois where the sun hums against your skin, and my daughter, Ellie, was laughing, chasing our mutt Rusty through the roses, floppy ears bouncing, tongue out, just a blur of joy. Then I heard that low, smug purr of a Lexus SUV rolling up my dirt road, and I knew, deep in my gut, peace was about to break. I'm Jake Tanner, born and raised on this 40-acre plot my grandpa left me, a place where the soil's got more stories than the folks in town. That SUV? It belonged to Vivian Marsh, the queen bee of our local HOA, one of those neighborhood watchdogs who think they own your soul because they've got a laminated badge and a vendetta. Vivian wasn't just strict. She was a one-woman crusade against anything that didn't fit her vision of community standards. My soybeans, my rusty barn. Hell, even the way I parked my truck, they all offended her sense of order. But I never thought she'd cross a line that'd make my blood boil like it did. She stepped out, all pressed slacks and fake smile, clutching her clipboard like it was the Constitution. "Mr. Tanner," she said, her voice dripping with that patronizing tone you hear from people who've never gotten their hands dirty. "Your field's in violation. Code 47 excessive crop height, obstructing sight lines. It's a safety hazard and, frankly, an eyesore." I wiped the sweat off my brow, squinting at her. "Vivian, this is my land. Been in my family since before your HOA was a gleam in some developer's eye. You've got no jurisdiction here." She clicked her pen, unfazed. "That's where you're wrong. The board redrew the boundaries last spring. Your little farm's under our oversight now. You've got 1 week to mow this mess down, or it's $1,200 in fines." I laughed, short and sharp, the kind of laugh you give when someone's so out of touch you almost pity them. "You're standing on Tanner's soil," I said, stepping closer, my shadow falling over her. "I don't pay fines to folks who can't tell a soybean from a weed. Get off my property." Ellie stopped playing, her small voice calling. "Dad, what's she want?" Rusty growled, low and uneasy, his hackles up. Vivian didn't budge. She just tilted her head, like she was sizing me up, and said, "You're making this harder than it needs to be, Jake. Rules are what keep chaos at bay. You'll comply, or we'll make you." Before I could fire back, she waved a hand, and the SUV's back door popped open. Out came Carl, her go-to-muscle big guy, ex-bouncer, the kind who thinks a tight polo makes him untouchable. He was holding my shovel, snatched from the fence post, and he didn't wait for an invitation. He marched straight into my field, swinging like he was auditioning for a demolition crew. Soybean stalks snapped, dirt flew, and Ellie screamed, "Daddy, stop him." Rusty bolted, barking like hell, and I lunged forward, but Vivian stepped in my path, her voice ice cold. "Touch him, and I'll have you arrested before you can blink." I shouted, "Get out of my field," but Carl didn't stop. Rusty, brave and stupid as ever, went for him, teeth bared. Carl spun, and with one swing of that shovel god, I'll never unhear it crack, like a branch snapping in a storm. Rusty dropped, limp, his body twitching once before going still. Ellie's wail cut through me like a blade. Everything froze: the sun, the air, my heart. I shoved Vivian aside, didn't care that she stumbled into the gravel, and I was on Carl before he could smirk. My fist met his jaw, blood sprayed, and he hit the dirt, out cold. I turned to Vivian, my voice low, shaking. "You don't call cops out here, lady. You don't call lawyers. You call the land, and it answers." Her eyes widened, just for a second. Then she scrambled to her SUV and peeled out. I knelt by Rusty, Ellie sobbing into my chest. His collar, the one Ellie tied with a red ribbon for superhero days, was cracked, stained. I dug his grave that night, right by the field, my hands raw, no shovel, just me and the dirt. Ellie didn't speak for 2 days. Vivian's email came the next morning, some boilerplate about non-compliance and escalated measures. No apology, no mention of Rusty. That's when I knew she didn't just kill my dog. She killed something bigger, something you don't get back. I didn't sleep much after that. I walked the field, tracing Carl's path, every crushed stalk a reminder of what they took. My hands itched for something: justice, revenge, I didn't care what you called it. In the barn, I found old fence posts, cedar, weathered but solid. I sharpened them into stakes, carved words into the wood: violation, No mercy. Fine, everything. I soaked the tips in molasses and bacon grease, knowing the fire ants out here don't need much to get mean. By dawn, I'd planted them in the field, hidden in the rows, a trap only the land would understand. 4 days later, Vivian came back. Same SUV, same swagger, like nothing happened. She had a fancy camera this time, recording herself like some influencer. July 20th, continued violations, she said, strutting toward the field. Non-compliant vegetation, safety hazards, and now reports of aggressive animals. She shot me a look from the edge of my porch. You were warned, Jake. This goes to the board. I leaned against the railing, calm as I could fake. You want evidence, Vivian? It's in the field. Go see for yourself. Her lips curled, like she thought she'd won. About time you learned, she said, and marched in, camera up, heels sinking into the dirt. I waited until she was deep in the rows, then lit the match. The fire caught fast dry stalks, a splash of kerosene I'd laid down the night before. It didn't roar. It hissed, like the land was exhaling. The flames snaked through the field, and then I heard her Vivian scream, raw, not human anymore, like fear had torn her voice apart. Jake, what is this? She yelled, crashing through the stalks, smoke curling around her. I stood at the edge, watching. She burst out, hair singed, blouse torn, one heel gone. She tripped, landed hard, and screamed again as a stake caught her leg, splinters biting deep. The ants were on her in seconds, red and furious, crawling up her arms, her neck. She thrashed, slapping at her skin, shrieking, "Get them off me!" I stepped closer, my voice steady. You killed my dog, Vivian. You broke my daughter's heart. This is what happens when you step on someone's life and call it policy. Her eyes, wild with pain, met mine, begging. Please, Jake, I'm sorry. I crouched down, close enough to smell the fear on her. Sorry doesn't bring Rusty back, I said. But the land? It's got a long memory. I stood, turned, and walked away. Her sobs faded into the crackle of the fire, the field swallowing her cries. It rained that night, soft, like the earth was washing its hands. Vivian didn't die, she crawled out, burned, bitten, broken. She spent weeks in the hospital, and when she came back, she wasn't Vivian anymore. Folks saw her wandering the town at night, barefoot, muttering to herself, clutching charred soybean silk like it was a lifeline. I didn't know it'd scream. She'd whisper, kneeling in random fields, not just mine. The HOA folded a month later, their office shuttered, Vivian's name erased from every record. Nobody fought it. They just sighed, like they'd been holding their breath for years. My field. It came back stronger than ever. By August, the soybeans were thick, golden, sweeter than any crop I'd grown. Ellie said they glowed in the morning light, and she wasn't wrong. At the county fair, people lined up to buy them, calling them miraculous, not knowing what the land had fed on. I kept one thing, Vivian's clipboard, half-burned, nailed to my barn like a warning. Every time the wind peels off another scrap of paper, I feel the earth nod. I don't know if I did right. Some nights, I hear Rusty's bark in the wind, soft, like he's proud. Other nights, I see Vivian's face, ruined, pleading, and I wonder if I went too far. But here's what I know. You don't step on someone's life, their land, their family, their heart, and expect to walk away clean. The land remembers, and it's got its kind of justice. So what do you think? Was I wrong to let the field fight back, or did Vivian get what she earned? Drop "The Land Remembers" in the comments if you felt this story in your bones, and tell me, where do you draw the line when someone crosses yours? Hit that like button, subscribe, and let's keep talking about the fights that shape us. Thanks for listening.